Ladies and Germans, how are you all doing? This is Con Over coming to you with another Company of Heroes 2 match. Today we have ourselves playing on Crossroads. And to be fairly honest with you guys, I'm kind of excited about this one. I don't know why, but I think it's because we have some USF play coming out here, and I cannot tell you for the life of me what this guy's name is down here. But let's just call him the OKW player. And of course, he's bringing on in. He's got Special Operations Doctrine, he's got Scavenge Doctrine, and he's got Elite Armored Doctrine. So we could be seeing a Storm Tiger coming forward. I don't know. I know some of you guys don't like it very much, but I know I do. Now, up to the northeast, his opponent is going to be Brom. Brom playing the USF as Heavy Cav. He's got Airborne, and he's got Recon Support. So, a couple of standards and a couple of not-so-standards. And here we are. We actually already have a, looks like a double Kubel opening coming out for our friend, the OKW player, which is uncommon, to say the least. Brom, in the meantime, he's going to go start engaging against the Storm Pioneers. But the Storm Pioneers will have a rather good firepower advantage, especially as the Kubelwagen comes in on the flank. Even these rear echelons won't do very good against them, and geez, Brom's riflemen are getting shot to pieces. It is not good. They're going to be forced to fall on back. Recons, in the meantime, rear echelons is what I meant to say. Rear echelons falling back in this kind of disarray here. But the thing you have to watch out for, at least from these guys, is that the riflemen eventually will outscale the Kubelwagen and indeed get much more diverse in their abilities, let's call it. And you can see that happening right about now as this Kubelwagen starts to get shot to pieces here. Storm Pioneers even behind it, not going to be able to force back the riflemen too easily on their own. Especially if we see this kind of distance engagement. This will favor the riflemen, at least for the moment, especially with the Storm Pioneers, though, in cover. They are moderately assisted, though, by the fact this other Kubelwagen does come on in. These guys are already getting a couple of kills to their name. Don't expect too much more of them. Especially we see another squad of rear echelons coming on out and a reinforced rifleman squad. We're seeing actually very much an overload to the north side of this map. I don't like this very much out of this OKW player. I would use my Kubelwagens to pressure back the rifleman initially, and I would have gone down here to pick up my own fuel. As of right now, he's allowing himself to get overloaded. Though, it does seem like he's able to successfully shove back pieces of the American army. I just would like to see the Germans take their expansion fuel as opposed to the American fuel. But, alright, we will see now. Rear echelons moving over to the German side of the map past the 50-yard line. And looks like they're going to pick up this fuel point away from the Germans. Though the Kubelwagen, in the meantime, will pick on some rear echelons over here to the center of the map. Interestingly, we are going to see a third rear echelon squad coming on out. So Brom really not going for anything remotely approaching a kind of standard build order. And obviously you can kind of tell this is not going to be necessarily the highest tier play, but it's just kind of fun for me to see different ideas coming on out. Maybe not the most efficient, but at least as interesting as anything you're going to get out of the top tier play. Volksgrenadier is very quickly throwing down some defenses here, and the OKW player will allow himself to have some great fighting positions, and indeed, geez, 10 rifles firing at the charging riflemen. And as riflemen understand right now, it's probably better to be behind cover when you're engaging the Germans. The 3 models dropping immediately there. Rear echelons, in the meantime, do hold on to this house, at least for the time being, but with a fairly quick SWS coming on out. First, I'm wondering if we're going to see that battle group headquarters, and that's what's going to be. Good. Wasn't sure if perhaps we might see a wait until we can bring in that mechanized regiment headquarters. I wouldn't agree with it, but it's definitely a possibility. And actually not new, but a rather shockingly early ambo coming on now for the Americans. No tech up into any one of the officers, which is a bit of a mistake in my mind. At 250 and 260, he should be getting one or the other already. But I'm getting the feeling he's getting a little bit tunneled and getting pressed a lot about where his defenses need to be. Because as of right now, wherever he is, the Germans are just outnumbering him. He brings a rifleman squad, they bring in 2 Volksgrenadiers. He brings rear echelons, they bring Kubelwagens. They put one of his in the hospital, they put one of theirs in the morgue. And you see, you know what? One model drops already from the Strom Pioneers, and these guys are 50% strength, but that Kubelwagen right here will just continue to chase on back consistently. Americans, nevertheless, will be able to take a 2-to-1 cap advantage. And will the Germans turn this into a forward retreat point? Not yet. And indeed, they should be turning these into medics as well, but not coming out with that yet. Instead, just preferring to keep their forces at this kind of distance gameplay against the Americans for the time being. Now, both sides do have themselves almost 30 fuel coming in per minute, and there's actually the advanced retreat point first. Interesting call. Interesting call. Now, Pathfinder's coming on station, so that means we are going to go for the airborne company here, which will give it kind of an odd play. Even more so, as you're going to see, these Germans are just all over the Americans. 81mm stovepipe, though, does come out on the field. My question is right now, how many rear echelons will drop? At least one, maybe two? No, how about that? They all made it out alive. That's really surprising. We're starting to see a little bit of blob play, but while this isn't the highest strategy, perhaps, it is certainly cinematic. Some mobs of Germans rush onto the fore. They're trying to make sure they have basically what amounts to, how do I call this, execution squads for the Americans. But with that 81mm, all he's got to do is drop 1 or 2 rounds in the middle of this blob. That could really, really devastate the German push. And that would have been perfect had they been there another 15 seconds or so. But no, instead we're just going to see the Germans fall back to this sandbags right here, and that's a good call. Forcing the mortar to at least realign, if nothing else. Surprisingly, perhaps, the Germans are down in tickets, but that's not going to be lasting for too much longer here. They have decapped everything away from the Americans, and we'll take at least a 2-to-1 in their favor. Would be good as well to pick up this particular point, cut off the Americans from their fuel, but they seem more content right now just to engage into constant warfare. And with that in mind, the Germans are up about a quarter of a command point. Not terrible, all things considered. Now they have the medics out. That's great. But I imagine at this point we're just going to see a straight tech to tier 4. Kubelwagen, in the meantime, is going to come back up again. He's just going to engage as much as possible, just annoying these riflemen to pieces. And with the Volksgrenadiers in support, really the only thing that's keeping the Americans in this game so far is going to be that mortar. See, right now already dropping rounds on top of that defensive position, dropping rounds on top of that Volksgrenadier squads. But really, I didn't realize until just now, this tank trap is a perfect opportunity for the Germans to have a forward kind of jump-off point. Captain has now hit the field, which means that he's kind of concerned about seeing some vehicle play coming out from the OKW more than these double Kubels. But that captain by himself should be a rather, I would say, decent edge and firepower. That being said, rifle grenade from these riflemen has gone and done some really great damage to the Kubelwagen. And with that, it might be now a resumption of about a 50-50 map. But 476 to 457, the Germans have decapped the southern point, but they haven't picked it up. Where is the incendiary grenade? Not seeing it right now. Instead, we're just going to see lots and lots of rifle fire being thrown at these poor defenseless houses here. And even the assistance of these other riflemen aren't going to do a whole lot. Indeed, we are going to see just this 3... How do I effectively call it here? Just 3 squads of Volksgrenadiers just kind of charging forwards and winning by sheer weight of numbers, I would say. Yes, they drop some models here and there, but it doesn't look like they're too upset about it. M2HB gets dropped down to support Brom's troops, and that's probably a good play. At the same time, his rear echelons do get themselves caught out. These guys are going to go down. There's no way in heck they're not. Gutsy play. They were trying to pick up this point right here. And there they go. So First Blood actually does finally go over to the Germans at long last. Kubelwagen, in the meantime, will go and engage his M2HB and realize it's probably not a good plan to go up against a heavy machine gun when you're driving what amounts to an overblown Volkswagen. Stovepipe, in the meantime, got 2 rounds, has 2 kills, excuse me, to his name. Really, when he just shelled that one tank trap, that's absolutely it. Germans, in the meantime, a very, very advanced Schwerpanzer headquarters, right by the 50-yard line, in fact. He's got to watch out that the 81mm doesn't just take him out practically by himself. In the meantime, M2HB pouring some good fire down on that machine gun, but the flanking move by these Volksgrenadiers might be enough? No, base MGs are going to keep them at distance. Never mind, and there they go. Kubelwagens barely clinging to life in the meantime. Sturm Pioneers not getting close enough to repair just yet. Oh, there we go, finally. Again, that super, super quick repair. And for some reason, this is actually facing the wrong way. So pro tip, guys, face the other direction. Going to go for Special Operations Doctrine, though, which means all units are hidden on the minimap. Interesting usage of 25 munitions, but it can be an excellent idea when you want to sneak in and cap a particular point, as you will see right here, for example. We're seeing the map right now from the American side of things, so it's worth noticing. Alright, in the meantime, though, double Kubels continue to be quite a nuisance. Going up against rear echelons, they will do rather well until they get supported even more. But with that in mind, we also are going to see artillery flares. Not sure why we're seeing artillery flares. Alright, not quite seeing the flares here. There we go. So way the heck back here. Interesting decision. Captain being thrown back in disarray, but these Volksgrenadiers might be able to get up close enough. And here comes the grenade assault. No grenade assaults. Instead, we just see a charge coming on in as they try to take out these riflemen and take out this mortar team. Not going to happen in either case, but they are going to keep the Americans fairly firmly in their own side of the map. I'm really hoping that our OKW player isn't trying just to wait for that Panther command tank. Because that ain't gonna save him, dude. Just isn't. Now, Verkettenwerfer will try to hold on to this point for as long as possible. We realize as eventually it's time for him to back away. Kubelwagen going to get shredded, and one more burst of fire will finally kill him. So there goes one of those brave Kubelwagens. And in the meantime, we are also going to see a free Verkettenwerfer out and up for grabs. So could this be the beginning of a resurgence by Brom? I don't know, but 475 to 446, we damaged engine already, and a Zook shot would be more than enough to take it out. There we go. Your armor hit, and surprise, there we go. I was like, how the heck is it not brewing up already? And for some reason, our OKW player just goes right back into hiding things some more, as well as firing off more flares. I mean, that's great if you want to keep an eye on the map, but why do you want to keep an eye on the map? When all the action's up here, and you're clearly been in all the action up here. But the Major has been called on in from the American side of things, and that's a good opportunity for them to finally start getting some big poning out on the map. Waiting for that 110 fuel, though, is going to be a little bit longer, probably about another minute or so. Actually, under a minute. 30 seconds-ish. And an infrared searchlight coming on through. I'm really confused right now with the build order. He doesn't have any kind of half-tracks. He doesn't have any distance play. He just has... I'm confused. I am quite confused. But alright, in the meantime, Sturm Pioneers coming over here to the northern side, looking for something, though what that is I don't know, while this infrared searchlight half-track comes on in. What's more, if I were he, I'd be definitely trying to roll out some solid vehicles here, but that doesn't seem to be his first concern. Can't understand why that is necessarily either. But triple STG-44 armed Volksgrenadiers. I'm wondering if he's just trying to keep an eye out. Is that what it is? It's just this is just a desire to have as much field awareness as possible because he's just kind of running back and forth between these dudes. Cannot understand what the idea is here. And all the stovepipe has to do very quickly is just to start pouring rounds downrange. MG34 is going to go and try to trade fire with the M2HB, but the M2HB, again, that's a 50 cal, son. That ain't no pea shooter. And with a mortar and support, that German machine gun's going to be evaporated. He falls back. I'm not sure he's going to get away. One more burst of fire. No, he does make it out alive, at least for the moment. While this Rakettenwerfer continues to be abused down here in the center part of the map. And again gets decrewed. And just on cooldown, again, he uses that mini-map thing. Not sure I understand that. Now, if he manages to decrew this again, he could actually pick it back up, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's quite good at getting away. Shockingly mobile, all things considered. In the meantime, the Americans are starting to wonder whether or not the Germans like pineapple. And with that in play, and with the ever-growing veterancy disparity, the Germans are definitely struggling. Although we might see the Major go on down here, so I'm not sure why he was this far forward.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
That was a very, very silly idea. A very silly Billy idea. But the OKW is not playing 100%, I would say, on the up and up. There's roving with this 3-squad Volks ball. And even then, a single machine gun is almost enough just to take him out. Now, what I really would like to see is to see an actual vehicle here other than this Command Panther coming on out. STGs on the Strom Pioneers will do a good job, at least until the M2HB comes online, rather. Volley fire active, which means, guys, expect to see that suppression coming out pretty darn quick. Between, oh, never mind, I was going to say, between that M2HB and the other fighters here, Pineapple, and that's a dead squad. So, OKW player falling to just 4 squads, only 3 of them really actually 2 of them any kind of real combat ability. But here we go, in about, call it 2 minutes, we will see Command Panther. I can almost guarantee that one. Obersoldat, in the meantime, coming on out. And we're seeing the effects of players unable to micro effectively. This is kind of like one of those cautionary tales from the German side of things.
German forces tracking on 300 points.
Tracking on 300 points is right, falling below them. Now the Germans who were up a couple of points here or there are now folding a little bit. Not quite like a cheap flan, but the Americans do have all the fuel they would need for at least a couple of Shermans here. And heck, they have all the munitions they might need to take out those tanks. Very curious investment of munitions there as well. So, like I said, not the top tier play, and indeed we're going to see an M7 howitzer carriage coming on out from the Americans. So, Brom not really looking to be too aggressive here. Instead, he just wants to go and lay off and fire off rounds from a long distance. And missing some grenades here and there. Is he close enough to get an incendiary grenade coming on out? Not the greatest use here. Would have been better to do special operations grenades. Instead, we're just going to see the Germans fall back in disarray. And again, and now an LMG coming on out. So the Obersoldaten are going to be good at facing off against some of the infantry, although with the veterancy issues, as well as the M2HB, as well as the mortar, they're not going to be anywhere near enough to fight them on their own. Excuse me, M8, not M7, M8. I would like to see also a Stielhandgranate coming on in, but no, the bundle grenade is not going to happen. Instead, we're going to see the Command Panther probably finally being brought on in instead of a regular Panther. So this will buff just vehicles, though. So a little bit curious why we have that happening. And at long last, a special operations grenade assault that doesn't do squat. I heard... Okay, they were Rakettenwerfer. There we go. My question is, are we going to try to see the Panther do some crush here? Because he's got a lot of targets. The problem with that is that the Americans have a lot of munitions, which means that those AT rifle grenades could be awesome. And with oh my god, and racks are now open as well. Geez, these riflemen are going to be incredibly good against their German counterparts. And we're seeing some decay here into some blob play. And again, Rakettenwerfer throwing rounds in after this Panther, and will do a good job. I mean, it's kind of hard to miss a 60-ton tank, or 45-ton, or 50-ton, whatever the heck it is. And we could even see a rocket run here. That might be a good idea. Rocket run, dropping on top of this. There we go. Dropped it a little bit shy. I would have dropped it behind the Panther on the retreat path. But rockets away, it's going to be more than enough damage to really, really hurt him.
We lost an anti-tank gun.
So they dropped the Rakettenwerfer in the meantime, but like I said, they dropped a little further back. They probably could have picked up that Panther. There have been 2 rocket runs as opposed just to the 1. And this M8 is just kind of hanging back, doing his thing, lofting rounds from downtown. And the Germans are down significantly here. Mostly due to really just kind of depending on this blob play. And as we go deeper and deeper into this game, 21 minutes in, okay, when are one of these planes going to get hit here? That's one.
One of our fighting positions is sustaining fire.
I just heard the other one get hit. Where did it go? Okay, so both of them die right back at the American home base. Luckily missing this entire section. If they had hit here, that would have been monstrously, monstrously dangerous. But we did just see... What's it, a paratrap? No. Yeah. No.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
Okay, but for 57mm. I don't think this got dropped in. I'm pretty sure this got made in the meantime. Honestly, I have to admit I wasn't paying attention entirely too much on that one. I was trying to find out when and where those P-47s would have gotten hit. But this guy right here, this is just a waste. A complete waste. It could have been so much better instead of what's going on here. What's more, this MG-34 is not doing any kind of legitimate damage. And now with these guys up next to it all, waiting. Okay, they're going to throw off a smoke grenade, realizing as all the rest of the German army comes on up, probably better for them to just back away, and back away quickly at that. Yes, oh, 270 manpower, never mind. They probably didn't make that, they probably just kind of called that one in. I didn't see it going on cooldown, is the problem. And more artillery flares. Do not understand the usage of this particular commander here. It does look like the Panther is trying to come in and take out this howitzer carriage. And probably will be able to do it, even with the 57mm here. But we might see... Never mind, I take it back. 57mm got him right where he wants him. One more round to send him back off with very, very little health. 81mm finally does go down, but who cares at this point? They are up over 300 tickets, and the Germans are not coming back anytime soon. And special operations grenades missing. Oh no, never mind, catching right on retreat, so getting lucky there. As the Americans decide to pull back right at the wrong time. Obers are going to go and exchange fire with the 57mm. It's a rather lopsided competition there. While the howitzer carriage just continues to shell from way downtown. Remembering here, guys, so a mobile 75mm barrage and a mobile smoke barrage. And they also have this nonsense, too. But coming up now on 24 minutes, 120 to 446. It's been a constant German bleed almost for the last 10 or 15 minutes here. And I dare say, I don't think the Germans are coming back from this. What now with more? With those BARs out in the rear echelons, these guys by themselves can almost stand up to Volksgrenadier squads. Now, outnumbered as they are, as well as this kind of beefy... Yikes. Beefy outnumbering blob assault, well, that's more of an issue. Mortar gets remade, and we are right back into the fight, folks. Another charge coming after this Panther. And now, where are the Americans? I'd be just trying to set a couple of 57mm up here to the flank and just start shelling on in. Heck, you can even use the Kettenwerfer. But it does not seem to be the American emphasis here at this time. Double Obersoldaten coming under fire like crazy. These guys, are they actually getting themselves with that LMG? I'd like to think that they were. Yes, they are. So they're picking that up in just a second here. And now with another M7 coming on, and M8 coming on in, the Americans have a delicious indirect fire advantage, and it's almost obscene. So rate of fire, max range, and a concealing smoke. This M8 is pretty well set here. Being covered as well by the 57mm and tons of munitions. I don't think the Panther is going to really be able to push on in too simply. Now, what I would like to see is maybe an investment into a P4. But I doubt the OKW player is going to do that. He just seems more content just to kind of throw himself headlong into his opponent's grasp again and again and again. Instead of moving down to the southern side where there's absolutely nobody, and you see virgin ground, really. Just incredible amounts of death and destruction being levied in this area here.
They have only 75 points remaining. Ready, go ahead!
And you've heard it right there. So 73 tickets left for the Germans. And I think this was kind of just fun for me just to see a different style of American play coming on out. I would like to see two M8s move into a shelling position down here. But for the time being, it's kind of hard to really disagree with how the M8s are positioned. And this captain, though, is very much out of position there. So both anti-tank guns dropping rounds into this charging Panther. But the 57mm does go down in the meantime, and it'd be awful just to see this be a death for the Americans after just going through this right now. So the howitzer motor carriage is getting hit pretty hard. Really getting hit pretty hard. 57mm is still in play as an opportunity here, and I'm surprised. Okay, that's been an AT grenade there. And Pineapple coming on out. This is going to hurt right now. Boom. Drop of 4 models. Could get that last one. He's not paying attention here. Doesn't take him out, but it's pretty darn close. Picks up this 57mm. He could get another shot or two into that Panther. No. But the rifleman needs to back off right now. There we go. So he's off the field here for the moment. MG34 is still in the area. He's causing some issues now and again. But I believe both M8s are going to come back into the fray just as good, maybe even better than ever. With very little else to be concerned about. And again, the Germans have not moved on here in forever. Look at this. There's normally this area right over here is all just shell cratered and blown to shreds. But in this game, nothing. Not next to nothing. Nothing.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture
They had a quick drink there to quench my thirst. And the M8s continue their brutal indirect fire here. So 2 kills here, 18 kills here. And they are going to do a good job against any kind of static German play. And gentlemen, this is nothing if not static German play.
Point.
Trailing back into the anti-tank weapons again. Well, here's one of them. Other one's still back in base here, and it seems that the Germans are feeling kind of frisky. Missing those lofted rounds, but again, those are, what, 107mm? How big are those carriages? 105s maybe. 75. Oops. Duh. 75mm, though, not going to be penetrating the best in the first place, even if it does hit the enemy tank. You see right there, one impacted on the front glacis there, and doesn't do a whole lot. Now, there's other... Okay, this captain picked up a second Zook. That's a good call right there. We're cutting rough for the meantime as well. Posting on up, hits that wall instead. Now this captain somehow makes it out with just 2 models. Both those guys do have Zooks, so a great opportunity. Just kind of go back, rest, and refit. Riflemen are going to try to throw out some pineapple now and again, and they're really just driving the Germans inside the arc of their machine gun. And at long last, the Germans decide, hey, wait, we can go to someplace else besides the upper side of the map. Unfortunately for them, they decide to drop their own controlled VP because of it. MG34 is going to throw out a couple of rounds here and there, but smoke comes up instead, and that's going to be more than enough. to keep the Germans at bay. Pinned in the meantime, these guys are going to get shredded by the next couple of bursts of fire until they back off, and there they go. M2HB might even get the pound of flesh as they back off. No, not going to happen. And the pineapple here actually does miss ever so slightly, but that round didn't. Dear God, that poor guy evaporated. Triple M8 howitzer carriages coming on in. Again, I should be throwing rounds down here. I mean, my opponent has not gone for the last headquarters here. I don't know that per se, but man, it's just, he's missing an opportunity like crazy, boys. Captain does get himself pinned, and that's a problem. But for the moment, the Americans can just throw themselves just in endless human wave tactics to capture a couple of territories here and there. That'd be more than enough. MG-34 is starting to get blown to pieces. Dear God. And one more round will do it. Yep, there we go. So MG-34 does get shredded and taken out of play. Germans, in the meantime, do manage to fight off the next American assault, but there's another one coming in behind that, and they're really just lucky that the Americans aren't just throwing down Jackson after Jackson or Sherman after Sherman. Heck, he could be just trading Shermans all day, would not matter. Oof, that is pretty brutal though. So all these howitzer carriages firing like crazy, and by weight of fire, that will begin to do quite a bit of issues for even this metal monster. A lot of mistakes coming out of here from the OKW player. One of which is you have to support your support teams. Another being you can't just wait for that final pretended super tank to come on in and save your guts. At this point, he's just using the howitzer carriages just to kind of pinprick this thing to death. I mean, that can't happen, bro. That cannot happen. If they take out this tank by themselves, that's just kind of sad. And we're back to draining tickets away from the Germans. 4-4-4 to 3-0. And once these howitzer carriages do see an infantry squad in front of them, you just see what they can do. Yep. And that's exactly what they need to do. Now, had all of them start dropping barrages down this area, it would have been incredible at the same time. And was he just firing a bazooka at the garrison? Apparently he was. Not sure too much why in that one. But one more Zook might do it. He's going to hang out there, I think, for just a second too long. Never mind, he's going to fall back. Germans going to try to push in to take back the center position. And now this is where you should drop barrages. Well, not barrages, but getting a couple of rounds here and there.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
A decent amount of death. Not an incredible amount, but decent. And I think that's going to be it for today, folks. So, like I said, not the top tiers of plays from the OKW, but still an amusing one nonetheless. Interesting to see a triple howitzer play coming out from the Americans. And that's going to be it. Winner by way of knockout, 4-4-0 to 0. Brom does take out our OKW player today. That's going to do it for me today, folks. Thank you so much for tuning on in. This has been Con Ulrich, and you guys have been great. If you haven't subscribed yet, feel free to please hit that button. I always like to have more members of our little cadre here. And if you have a game you want me to check out, email me at conulrichgaming@gmail.com. You all have a great day. Take it easy, everybody.